The sky was dark and overcast as the storm intensified over the surface of a planet unmarked on humanity's maps. At that critical moment, pilot Ethan Driver was navigating his spacecraft on a routine exploratory mission, unaware that something unexpected would change the course of his life forever. Suddenly, the power cut out, alarms blared throughout the ship, and chaos ensued. The spacecraft swayed in space, and as Ethan struggled to regain control, he lost command of the system. In a moment of panic, the ship crashed onto the surface of this mysterious planet, its components scattering among massive rocks and dark underbrush. Ethan emerged, weighed down by his injuries and bouts of confusion, to find himself alone in a world unlike anything he had ever seen. The air was heavy with the scent of dust and metal, and the ground beneath his feet was cracked. Everything around him was strange and terrifying at the same time. Trees resembling skeletal structures and faint lights dancing on the horizon like signals from another world. In the heart of this void, Ethan gathered his strength and began searching for shelter, water, and food, unaware that these moments would mark the beginning of a story that would change his understanding of life and the universe. As Ethan wandered through the planet's rugged terrain, he noticed something unusual on the horizon. Not just a shadow or a fleeting reflection, but a deliberate, non-human movement. His heart skipped a beat, and his eyes widened in awe and fear. He cautiously approached the source of the movement until a strange creature emerged, glowing faintly from behind massive rocks. The creature was unlike anything human or animal. Its skin was slightly translucent, shimmering with hues of blue and purple, and its large eyes held a mysterious glint, as if carrying secrets from another world. Ethan felt a mix of fear and curiosity and couldn't help but whisper, "Who are you?" without expecting a human response. Suddenly, words he had never heard before entered his mind. Not spoken aloud, but as a deep sensation, a message resonating in the depths of his soul. "I am Alara." The name was unfamiliar, but Ethan felt it carried a profound meaning beyond words, as if this being bore a message from the universe itself. Ethan and Alara stood in a long silence, filled with mystery and excitement. Alara's eyes gazed at him with a gentle, enigmatic kindness, as if trying to read his soul and understand what lay in his heart. Then, slowly, the surrounding creatures began to move, as if encircling the area to witness a meeting that was never supposed to happen. The first encounter with Alara was not the end of Ethan's terror, but the beginning of a deep internal struggle. Ethan returned to his makeshift camp, built from the wreckage of his ship and some rocks, his heart racing with a mix of fear and curiosity. He couldn't sleep that night, haunted by vague visions of two opposing worlds. One, the human world he knew, and the other, Alara's world, which seemed strange and incomprehensible. The next morning, he gathered his courage and ventured out to explore more of this strange planet. He imagined that his meeting with Alara was no coincidence but a fateful encounter orchestrated by the forces of the universe. With every step he took among the rocks and cracked valleys, he heard the whispers of the wind, as if carrying messages from the past and the future. It wasn't long before Ethan encountered Alara again, this time in a field of blue grass that glowed under a strange sun. Alara approached him slowly, and with each step, her face showed signs of sorrow and pain. A question echoed in Ethan's mind. "What secret are you hiding?" But the answer came without words, through the sadness in her eyes. Alara began showing Ethan glimpses of her past, moments from an advanced civilization that had lived in harmony with nature and the cosmos but had collapsed due to internal conflicts and bitter betrayal. She told him of the tragedy of her civilization, which had lost its balance, and of her desire to restore peace and harmony. Ethan listened intently, as if these words were calling to something deep within him that he had never known before. As the days passed, the initial fear began to transform into growing curiosity and a desire to understand. Ethan realized that his relationship with Alara could be the key to unlocking the secrets of this mysterious planet and perhaps even restoring lost human capabilities. He decided to spend more time with Alara, trying to build a bridge of trust between them despite the vast differences between their worlds. One evening, the two sat on the edge of a deep ravine, overlooking a breathtaking celestial view. planets hanging in space and neon lights dancing in the background. Ethan spoke of his life, the wars he had lived through, and the loneliness he had felt during his years of military service. In return, Alara shared stories of her ancient civilization, of love and betrayal, and how her people had lost their harmony due to internal conflicts. Their words began to intertwine, and a deep connection formed between them despite their different origins. Each saw in the other a reflection of something within themselves. Ethan saw in Alara a sad soul searching for salvation, while Alara saw in Ethan the courage and determination her people lacked. Those moments were the seeds of something greater, a collaboration that could open new horizons for a shared future. This world was not without dangers. In every dark corner lay surprises that threatened the lives of those who dared to approach. The weather conditions began to change abruptly, and violent dust storms with fierce winds threatened to destroy everything in their path. In those critical moments, Ethan and Alara had to unite to survive. The two embarked on a journey across the planet's rugged terrain, trying to reach an area believed to be a safe haven. The journey was fraught with peril. They encountered strange monsters lurking in the shadows and highly aggressive creatures that attacked without warning. During these battles, Ethan's courage, honed through years of military service, shone through, while Alara demonstrated her unique mental and physical abilities, allowing her to communicate with the environment and predict danger. One night, as they rested in a temporary shelter, Ethan experienced a nightmarish vision. He saw images of a burning earth, cities collapsing, and screams emanating from the depths of darkness. He woke up trembling, but Alara was there to comfort him. She placed her cold hand on his shoulder and whispered in a voice filled with pain and wisdom, "Everything we go through is part of our story, and every obstacle is a lesson that brings us closer to the truth we seek." In that moment, Ethan realized that the danger surrounding them was not just an external challenge but an internal struggle between fear and curiosity, between the desire to survive and the quest to uncover what lay beyond the veil. As time passed and Ethan and Alara's relationship deepened, secrets began to slowly unravel. Ethan realized that the planet where his ship had crashed was not just a random place in space, but part of a complex system, holding traces of an ancient civilization. The rocks carved with strange inscriptions and the crumbling towers scattered across the region bore witness to a people who had known peace and progress, but had quickly collapsed under the weight of internal conflicts and bloody betrayals. Alara began telling him about her people's history, how their civilization had been built on principles of love and harmony, but greed for power had led to their division and betrayal of one another. She recounted tales of bloody battles between clans and devastating losses that had caused them to lose their ability to communicate with cosmic forces. As she spoke, her eyes reflected deep pain and wisdom, as if recalling every moment of the chaos that had swept through her civilization. These stories deeply affected Ethan. He, who had spent years of his life in human conflicts and bloody wars, began to see that the suffering of peoples was not unique to humans alone. The threads of destiny between him and Alara began to intertwine more clearly, as both became symbols of sacrifice and hope. While exploring the ruins of the ancient city that had been the center of her civilization, they found a massive temple half buried in the sand. Its walls were carved with inscriptions documenting stories of peace and war, and the birth and rise of a great civilization. Ethan paused at the sight of these carvings, wondering how such a great civilization could fall so far. Alara said softly, "Power and greed can destroy even the most beautiful worlds. But in every fall, there is a lesson, and in every loss, there is a seed of hope." Thus, Ethan began to realize that his journey with Alara was not just a journey of survival, but a journey of self-discovery and the meaning of life. The world they found themselves in was not friendly to everyone. As they continued their journey, they encountered a group of beings living in the forgotten corners of the planet. Some of these beings seemed friendly, offering help and support in facing dangers, while others appeared with suspicious intentions and a desire to exploit their weakness. In one small village built on the ruins of an ancient civilization, Ethan and Alara met a group of locals who possessed deep knowledge of the planet's history. These inhabitants were a mix of humans who had settled on the planet long ago and alien beings who had merged with local life. During an intimate gathering, Ethan listened to their stories of bloody battles between different groups and alliances born from pain and betrayal. An elder, with a trembling voice full of wisdom, said, "In every world, you find that conflicts generate strength. Betrayal may be painful, but through it, we learn how to trust others deeply." These words resonated deeply in Ethan's heart, who began to feel that cooperation between different beings might be the only way to survive and achieve peace. Collaboration with these alliances became an urgent necessity. Countless forces threatened the survival of this world. New battles began to appear on the horizon, as waves of chaos and violence spread. Ethan and Alara had to weave together a solid defensive plan, combining human courage with the knowledge of ancient beings. This period was full of challenges. They had to deal with internal betrayals and divisions emerging from within the alliance, but they remained steadfast in their belief that love and cooperation could alleviate the pain. After a period of preparations and alliances, the time for the final confrontation arrived. A mysterious force began to emerge from the depths of the planet, a force that could only be described as the embodiment of darkness and destruction. The enemy was not a single entity but a torrent of explosive energy emanating from cracks in the ground and spreading across the sky, threatening to engulf everything in its path. At that critical moment, the heroes of the Alliance gathered under the leadership of Ethan and Alara, ready to fight a battle that might be the last this civilization would witness. The atmosphere was tense, and alarm sounds echoed as everyone prepared to face the attack. The battle was fierce and violent. Shouts erupted, and fires broke out from all sides. Amid the chaos, Ethan emerged as a symbol of courage, using everything he had learned during his years of suffering to direct counterattacks against the destructive energy waves. Alara, on the other hand, used her mental powers to distract the enemy and disrupt its system, trying to create gaps that would allow the Alliance to breach the heart of darkness. The battle was a struggle between light and darkness, between hope and despair. Despite the heavy losses suffered by both sides, signs of victory began to appear gradually. Ethan led a coordinated counterattack, and Alara issued orders in coordination with the Alliance leaders, until it seemed that the enemy's power began to fade under the weight of unity and courage. In a pivotal moment, the team managed to breach the enemy's main defense line, causing the dark system to collapse. The victory was bitter. Everyone had paid a high price, but they realized that sacrifice was the only way to restore hope. After the battle ended, the heroes gathered in painful silence. Ethan and Alara sat among the ruins, reflecting on the losses everyone had suffered and the deep scars the battle had left on their souls. The night was unexpectedly quiet, as if the universe itself had rested after the storm. But in their hearts, the scars of war and the sounds of farewell remained. The elders and locals sat recounting stories of courage and sacrifice, and those moments carried messages about the unity of peoples and the importance of communication between different beings. Ethan remembered his days in the military, where fear had been his constant companion, but this experience with Alara and the various alliances had restored a lost faith. He saw in Alara's eyes a glimmer of hope and nostalgia, as if reminding him that every wound had a chance to heal. The word she kept repeating was unity. He realized that isolation had been the factor that had driven many to ruin, and that cooperation between different worlds could be the ultimate solution to facing the hardships of existence. At that moment, a new idea entered Ethan's mind, that what had happened was not just a fleeting incident, but a message from the universe that life transcends boundaries and divisions, and that every experience, no matter how painful, carries a lesson waiting to be understood. He spoke with Alara about his visions for the future and how to build a new world based on cooperation and mutual respect. Their conversation was deep and filled with emotion. They spoke of dreams and hopes and how unexpected relationships could be a bridge between worlds. As the days passed, life gradually returned to normal on the planet that had once known total destruction. The locals and Ethan's allies built new camps and began reclaiming the damaged lands. There was a general feeling that the war was over and that a new beginning awaited everyone. Amid this change, Ethan and Alara became symbols of solidarity between worlds. They had proven that an unexpected relationship between a human and an alien could carry a deeper message of peace than anyone could imagine. Ethan began recording his memories and experiences on this planet, trying to convey to the outside world the lessons of war, sacrifice, and the importance of unity. He wrote in his journal, "I have learned that in every moment of pain, there is an opportunity for renewal, and that true light emerges from darkness when we unite." Alara, on the other hand, helped establish a comprehensive library documenting the history of her civilization and the planet's civilization, to serve as a reference for future generations on how to deal with major challenges. Over the months, gatherings between humans and alien beings began to take place, where everyone exchanged ideas and experiences. A cosmic council was established, bringing together representatives from various civilizations. Its goal was to be a platform for dialogue and cooperation and to prevent the repetition of past mistakes. In one of the council sessions, Ethan spoke about the importance of trust and sacrifice in building a bright future, while Alara spoke about the beauty of diversity and the necessity of respecting the differences of every being. The road ahead was not paved with roses. They faced new challenges such as cultural differences and sectarian conflicts that tried to destabilize the peace. But each time, cooperation triumphed over division, and they saw in that a sign that humanity and other worlds were capable of overcoming all obstacles if they united. While life gradually returned to order on the planet, rumors began to surface about hidden secrets buried beneath the surface. The locals spoke of an ancient temple located in the heart of a vast desert, containing inscriptions and drawings documenting a forgotten civilization. Ethan and Alara felt that this temple might hold the keys to understanding the planet's fate and perhaps even be directly related to the events that led to the destruction of the ancient civilization. Together, they decided to embark on an exploratory journey to that mysterious region. Accompanied by a small team of scientists and locals, their goal was to uncover the secrets of the past and use them to build a better future. The journey was fraught with dangers. They faced sandstorms and land filled with natural traps. But with each step, the cooperation among the team members showed its strength, and Ethan and Alara encouraged everyone to continue despite fatigue and fear. After days of searching and investigation, they reached the temple site. The building was massive and majestic, surrounded by huge stone statues and inscriptions that were not easily decipherable. The team entered the temple cautiously, and each room revealed intricate details showing how advanced a civilization that had known how to respect nature and live in harmony with it had been. In one of the inner chambers, they found ancient writings about cosmic crossing and the communication of multiple civilizations across time. Ethan began to feel that everything had been arranged with precision. These secrets might be the answer to his questions about the crash of his ship and his mysterious relationship with Alara. In the depths of the temple, the team found a secret chamber containing a massive stone slab carved with intricate inscriptions. The carvings depicted various beings, some resembling humans and others resembling aliens. On the side of the slab, there were texts in an ancient language that no one could immediately decipher, but Alara, with her unique mental abilities, managed to extract meanings that spoke of cosmic balance and the role of a chosen one who carried the fate of worlds in his heart. Alara said hesitantly, "This prophecy speaks of a meeting between two worlds, of the union of opposing forces to create a new balance." Ethan contemplated the carvings and felt that this message foretold a future he had never imagined. A future that might be the key to rebuilding lost civilizations and achieving peace between worlds. The scientists began translating the text slowly, and with each symbol deciphered, new information about the planet's history and the secrets of the ancient civilization emerged. They discovered that the planet had once been a hub for multiple civilizations and that cosmic crossing was not just a scientific experiment but a sacred ritual practiced to renew cosmic energy and restore balance to the forces of nature. Ethan and Alara became more determined at that moment. They realized that their personal story was closely tied to the fate of this world and that they had to use this knowledge to build a bridge between worlds and prevent future disasters. In a long session with the team, they agreed to establish a joint project aimed at reactivating the ancient, cosmic crossing technologies and using them to serve peace and cooperation among civilizations. Ethan and Alara returned to their new camp, laden with the secrets and knowledge they had gained from the ancient temple. They began organizing meetings and seminars with locals and scientists from across the planet, aiming to spread the message carried by the ancient prophecy. The main goal was to establish a cosmic council representing various civilizations, where everyone would work together to prevent conflicts and achieve lasting peace. During this period, new relationships emerged, built on mutual trust and deep understanding. Ethan spoke of his personal suffering and his harrowing experience with loneliness and fear, and how his relationship with Alara had helped him discover new courage within himself. Alara, on the other hand, explained how the stories of her people and the secrets of the temple had shown her that every being had value and a place in the universe, regardless of their origin. The Cosmic Crossing project began to bring about real change. Workshops and scientific institutes were established to teach techniques for communicating with cosmic energies and how to use these energies to balance different forces. Progress was rapid, and over the months, the first signs of a flourishing new civilization began to appear on the planet. Nature regained its balance, and trees and flowers began to bloom, as if welcoming the return of hope after a long period of darkness. But despite the small successes, there were ongoing challenges and conflicts. Not everyone accepted change easily. Some factions refused to abandon old ways, considering communication with cosmic energies a threat to their identity. Ethan and Alara faced strong opposition from some groups that saw them as a threat to the stability of the old order, forcing them to find new ways to communicate and persuade. One night, after a decisive meeting in the Cosmic Council, Ethan stood and addressed everyone. "We have learned from our suffering that fear only breeds division, and that true hope comes from unity. What we face is not just a crisis but an opportunity to write a new chapter in our history. We must be courageous and trust each other, no matter our differences." His words flowed through the air, and the hearts of those present beat with hope and determination. Months and days passed, and the Cosmic Crossing project grew to become a symbol of change throughout the planet. But as is the case in every story, there were pivotal moments that required extraordinary sacrifice and courage. One stormy night, as everyone was preparing to celebrate the success of the project's first phase, a sudden attack erupted from a group of extremists who rejected change. The clashes escalated, and the sky filled with the sounds of weapons and skirmishes. Ethan found himself in direct confrontation with enemies seeking to extinguish the glimmer of hope that had begun to seep into people's hearts. The fighting was fierce and bloody, and every passing minute carried the possibility of losing many lives. Amid this chaos, Ethan found himself forced to make a fateful decision: to advance alone toward the enemy's headquarters to stop the attack and save the Cosmic Council from collapse. This mission required indescribable courage, and when he looked into his eyes, he saw in them a reflection of determination and resolve. He moved quickly, sneaking through the shadows and across rough terrain. The sounds echoed from all sides, and as he approached the enemy's base, the tension and fear intensified. But in those moments, memories of Alara and her wise words filled his heart with hope, giving him the strength to continue. Upon arrival, a fierce battle broke out. Ethan faced a group of rebels leading the attack. He demonstrated the combat skills he had acquired through years of military training, and every strike he delivered carried a message: "We will not submit to darkness, no matter the cost." Despite the heavy losses the team suffered, Ethan's courage and leadership temporarily restored order, giving the Cosmic Council a chance to regain control. After hours of bloody fighting, the situation began to calm down. Faced with Ethan's steadfastness and the team's sacrifices, the rebels surrendered, and the council area was secured. But the victory was bitter. Everyone had witnessed the loss of comrades and friends, and their faces bore the marks of pain and grief. Ethan sat with Alara after the battle, as dawn broke on the horizon. Alara looked at him with her sharp eyes and said, "You have paid the price, but hope is still alive. We must learn from this pain and rise stronger." Ethan felt the weight of responsibility, but at the same time, his heart was filled with gratitude for the relationship that had formed between them. A relationship that transcended differences and violence to become a symbol of sacrifice and unity. The Cosmic Council began holding joint sessions to reassess the situation and determine the next steps toward restoring lasting peace. The project that had started as a small initiative had now become a unifying force bringing together various civilizations, all thanks to the shared will and courage everyone had shown in facing darkness. At that moment, Ethan realized that life was not just a series of battles but a long journey of learning and growth, and that every battle he had fought was a lesson from which he drew wisdom. He wrote in his journal, "Every tear shed and every wound healed is a step toward building a new world where peace and respect are the foundation." Thus, pain became a source of inspiration, and every person had a role in writing a new history based on unity and love. As time passed, the wounds began to heal, and the scars turned into testaments to courage and sacrifice. Life gradually returned to the planet, and gatherings of people became more intimate and cooperative. The Cosmic Council established schools and institutes to teach cosmic crossing techniques and martial arts, and to raise future generations on the values of unity and cooperation. The road was not paved with roses, but hope illuminated every corner of this world. Ethan and Alara began organizing joint workshops that brought together different cultures, exchanging experiences and stories that carried messages of humanity and peaceful coexistence. In one of the seminars, Ethan said, "I have learned from my experience that the real boundaries are not in place but in our hearts. What divides us is our fear of the unknown. But when we open our hearts to realize that we are all children of the universe, we can unite in the face of all challenges." Those words resonated in everyone's hearts and became a reason to change their outlook on life. Scientists and thinkers collaborated with leaders of civilizations to develop future plans that would ensure the mistakes of the past were not repeated. They established projects to replant lands affected by wars and to create a network of cultural and scientific centers connecting all parts of the planet and even other worlds they had discovered in their travels. During this period, Alara focused on documenting the history of her people and ancient civilization, keeping the memory of the past alive so that the lessons learned from betrayals and conflicts would not be forgotten. She spent long hours studying the inscriptions and ancient documents, while Ethan worked on training the new generation of warriors and scientists, equipping them to protect their achievements and stand against any new threats. Despite the success achieved by the Cosmic Council, the challenges were not over. Rumors began to surface about a new force lurking in the corners of the universe, a force that seemed to seek to exploit this emerging unity and turn it into new chaos. Reports of abnormal activities began to spread among explorers, and there were indications that this force might be linked to the ancient secrets they had discovered in the temple. Ethan and Alara felt that the upcoming challenge would be the true test of the unity they had built. The team began preparing a new exploratory mission to investigate this phenomenon, emphasizing the need for caution and not rushing into decisions. Everyone had to be patient and wise, as every step in this journey could hold surprises that would change the balance of things. The mission set out on a journey full of dangers, traversing uncharted paths through unexplored spaces. At each stop, they encountered strange phenomena that they could not scientifically explain, but these phenomena carried implicit messages about the future of civilizations. This experience strengthened the bonds among the team members and made them feel that they were part of a larger fabric extending across time and space. As they approached the source of the mysterious activity, signs of another ancient civilization, unknown to humans, began to appear. This civilization was technologically and spiritually advanced and had left behind traces that still glowed in the depths of space. Despite all the dangers, Ethan, Alara, and their team had to summon the courage to explore these secrets, as they believed that every discovery was a step toward a greater understanding of the universe. After a grueling journey that lasted weeks, the team reached an area that seemed to be the center of an ancient civilization. There were massive buildings of stone and copper, adorned with intricate carvings telling the stories of a civilization that had lived in perfect harmony with the forces of the universe. Ethan and Alara felt the grandeur of the place, as if they had entered a living museum preserving the secrets of bygone eras. In the heart of the ancient city, they found a massive temple glowing faintly despite the passage of time. Inside the temple, there were inscriptions and drawings documenting great events and meetings between civilizations yet to be known. These images carried messages about cosmic crossing and how to balance the forces of light and darkness. The team began studying these drawings and extracted deep meanings linking past events to what could happen in the future. At that moment, Ethan and Alara sat together in front of a massive stone slab carved with intricate details. Alara said with emotion, "This is our proof that the universe has not forgotten us, and that every being in this universe has a story worth telling." Ethan replied, looking at the slab with gleaming eyes, "Perhaps our story is just the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the universe, a chapter that carries hope and a return to balance." That moment was a confirmation that unity and cooperation were the only way to face the challenges ahead. The team returned to their camp, carrying with them a renewed sense of faith and knowledge, ready to convey these messages to everyone living in this universe. After their return from the exploratory mission, the Cosmic Council convened to discuss the new discoveries. The discussions revolved around the importance of using the knowledge gained from the forgotten civilization to rebuild a better world and the necessity of maintaining the balance between the forces of light and darkness in the universe. Ethan and Alara were among the main speakers, presenting a future vision based on cooperation and understanding among all civilizations. In one of the long meetings, Ethan said, "We have learned that at every turn in life, there is an opportunity for renewal. Our story is not just about suffering or conflict, but a message transmitted through time to remind us that we are all children of this universe, and that our unity is the source of our strength." The attendees resonated with his words, and a glimmer of hope shone in their eyes, pointing to a promising future despite all the challenges. The discussions deepened until it became clear that the new project launched under the slogan Cosmic Crossing would be a cornerstone for rebuilding civilization on a solid foundation of knowledge and cooperation. Plans were made to establish joint research centers and workshops bringing together scientists and artists from various civilizations, all aimed at building a future not based on division and conflict but on unity and creativity. At the end of the meeting, one of the senior leaders concluded with the words, "Let what happened be a lesson to us all. The deepest secrets are not in what we lose but in what we can build together. The world is in our hands, and the stars are calling us. So let us respond with our hope and faith." Those words were a promise of a new future, built on the foundations laid through pain and sacrifice. Years passed, and the Cosmic Crossing project became a symbol of change and transformation. The stories of Ethan and Alara spread among humans and other civilizations, and their story became an example of how unexpected relationships could be a bridge to a better future. Ethan became a symbol of courage and sacrifice, while Alara became an icon of wisdom and insight. On a quiet day, everyone gathered to celebrate a decade since the establishment of the Cosmic Council. The celebrations were filled with music, colors, and stories of courage and unity, reminding everyone that every obstacle overcome was a step toward achieving peace and understanding between worlds. Ethan looked up at the starry sky and remembered every moment he had spent with Alara, moments filled with tears, laughter, pain, and hope. He said to himself, "Our story may have begun in a moment of chaos, but it grew to become a legend told across generations." At that moment, everyone realized that the end was just a new beginning and that every experience, no matter how harsh, carried within it a seed of peace and renewal. Hearts were filled with gratitude and determination to move forward toward a bright future where there was no place for fear or division, but where love and cooperation prevailed among all beings. The celebrations of that day ended, but their impact remained in everyone's hearts. It was a clear message to the world that unity and cooperation could turn the hardest moments into the start of a new era. And despite differences in origins and cultures, it was the hearts beating with hope that made the difference. Thus, the story of When Two Worlds Meet ended, a story that was not just a meeting between a human and an alien but a journey through time and space, a journey that carried lessons about courage, sacrifice, unity, and how the entire universe awaited those who dared to dream and change. The story became told in every corner of the galaxy, a symbol of hope that never fades no matter how dark the times. Every time people looked up at the sky, they remembered that every star had a story and that unexpected encounters could be a bridge to achieving peace among all worlds of existence.